Hey, this is Tamika Hall here, the CEO of I Worship 96 FM Radio, where we spin the best of indie gospel and Christian music. This is an indie artist 911, and I'm here to teach you how to copyright your music in the year of 2020. Oh yeah. So listen, it's so important that as an indie artist, if you are looking to be taken seriously as a professional artist, that we begin to level up our thinking and we begin to level up our business. So one of those things is protecting our work. So when it comes to protecting your work, it's going to require probably 20 minutes of your time. And yes, it's going to require a monetary investment. It's not a severe investment, but it is going to require an investment in protecting your work. Let's just dispel a myth right now. There are people out there, and you'll even search the internet, and people will talk about the poor man's copyright, right? So let me just explain to you what that is. The poor man's copyright is you take your music, you burn it onto a CD, you burn it onto a flash drive, you Watusi yourself to the post office. Who says Watusi? Anyway, you go to the post office, put it in an envelope, mail it to yourself, get tracking information, whatever it is that you believe you need to prove that it is yours, so that if somebody were to take a piece or whole, whatever of your work, then you're able to walk into the courtroom and say to them, hey judge, listen, no, this was mine before they ever recorded or took the lyrics or what have you. I already had it. Listen, it's not foolproof. And if you really believe in your work, and you believe that it is something that somebody would want to steal, then you're going to want to take the time to actually copyright your work with copyright.gov. That's the way that you will legally do it. This is why it's not foolproof. Now, I'm not an attorney, and my suggestion to you is to always go to an attorney. This is just coming from years of doing it. The reason why it's not foolproof, I want you to think about it this way, right? You could go to the post office and you could essentially not seal an envelope, right? And you could pay for the postage and get it mailed to you, right? The post office is concerned about things that are flammable, things that are dangerous, but they're not going to necessarily say, hey, you're mailing an empty envelope. Why? They're a business. They're about making money. So if you mail yourself an empty envelope, who cares, right? You just mailed yourself an empty envelope. But what that does is that is the reason why it's not foolproof for you to walk into a court of law and say, I want to seek damages, meaning I want to sue somebody for stealing my work. It's not foolproof, right? So take the extra steps to do it. So when you go to copyright.gov, you're actually going to be thinking about your particular song or songs. So you can actually register one song or you can register an entire album. The fees are always changing, but I believe as of right now, the fee for registering just one song is about $45 or $55. If you're registering an entire body of work, I think that runs between $85 and $125. But again, it's constantly changing. Once again, make sure that you are consulting with an attorney. However, in my experience, what I have learned is that when you do register each song by itself, it really gives you the ability to seek full damages if somebody were to steal a portion of your song. If you copyright an entire album at one time, then you are kind of entitled to a percentage of each song. So if you've copyrighted an album with 10 songs on it, then there's a percentage. Do you get what I'm saying? So consult with an entertainment lawyer and they'll be able to give you a better breakdown on that. But that has been my experience of what I've learned over the past couple of years. When you are registering your work, you're going to have to think about it in terms of the sound recording, number one, as well as the composition. So composition, the lyrics, and what have you. Okay. So you will be registering based on those things. So with that being said, let's go right ahead. I'm going to dive right in and I'm going to show you right on copyright.gov all the steps that you need to walk through to copyright either your song or your entire album. Okay, so let's get started with registering our album with the Copyright Office. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go to copyright.gov. Okay, you'll go to copyright.gov, you'll land on this page. We are registering a copyright. So you'll actually click on this tab right here. And this is the registration portal. At this point, we're going to log into the electronic copyright registration system. And And right here is if you already have an account, and you see that I already do. If you already have an account, you'll go ahead and log in. If you are new to the process, then you will click right here, new user to register. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. This is your dashboard. Okay, this is your dashboard. And what we want to do is we want to register a work. Most of everything that you need to do is going to fall under a standard application. And so that's what I'm going to be working with here today. This right here is the beginning of the registration process, and this is where you'll start the application. But if you do have questions about it, for example, this will give you information about the application form, the fee, as well as where you would mail in or upload your work. One of the things I wanted to tell you is that it's $55 to register online, and it's $85 if you choose to mail in. So it's always, I think it's better to just do things online, and it's also faster. We're going to start the registration process. So the first thing, well, let me just explain this. So in registering, at this point, we have 3 different things that we need to do. We need to fill out the form. We're going to have to pay for our work, or pay for the registration, and then we will need to submit the work. So these are the 3 parts that we'll be doing at this moment. The first thing we're going to do is register the type of work. Okay, because we are registering an album, we are going to register a sound recording. Now, if you were only, for example, just registering the composition or what have you, then you would do something like the work of the performing arts. But because we are registering a full project, you will be clicking on sound recording. Okay, this gives you an explanation of exactly what sound recordings are. But again, please, folks, register something that you own. Don't register somebody else's work. It would be a problem. So you'll confirm that this is what you are doing, and then we'll continue. Okay, so this is super important. If you're wanting to register an entire album, you would register the name of the album, and what you'll do is you'll click New, Title of Work Being Registered, because it's the full work. You would put your album name here. Click Save. So that's the name of the entire work that is being registered. Now, if you're only doing one song, then you would put the song title, and then it would be Title of Work Being Registered. But since it's an album, we're listing the name of the album, and now we have to list the contents, which are the songs. So you would list your songs under here like so. So for however many songs that you have, they will be listed as the contents, a contents title, so on and so forth. So if your album has 20 songs, then you would have the album name and every single song that is registered with it. Once you have finished putting all of your information and all of your titles here, then you will click Continue, and then we will go to Publication and Completion. Has the work been published before? So that's either a yes or a no. Let's look at what it does when you say yes. If it says yes, then you'll have to tell them what year it was created, the date of the first publication, where it was, the country where it was created, and then your number, so if it's music, you will probably have an ISRC. And if you have one of these other numbers, this is where you would put that in, over here. Okay. So that is what you would do. If you've already pre-registered the work, if you have a number, you would put that here. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to say no, just to kind of keep things simple so that we can flow with this tutorial very quickly. Here you will put the year that it was completed. And again, if you have pre-registered your work and if you need information about that, you would click here for further information, then you would enter that there. So this page is really important. This is where we are letting the Copyright Office know if we, what we have rights to. So for example, do you have the rights to the sound recording? Do you have the rights to the composition, or, in other words, the lyrics? And so this is where you're going to give them that information. So you would either click New or you would click Add Me. So new is if you are, if you share the copyright with somebody else. For this, we're just going to keep it straightforward. I'm going to say me, yay, Tamika Hall, the country of citizenship. You'll enter in your information here. right here, whether or not it's pseudonymous, this is if your work is completed under a fictitious name. All right. And I would just suggest that if you do that you click help and you get more information about that, because you can't say that it's a pseudonymous work if your actual name appears somewhere with that particular recording. And so it's always good to just click help. But if your actual name appears, then it would not be a pseudonymous work. All right. Then you would click save. And right here, it's saying, okay, what did the author create? Okay, I created the sound recording. The other is important if you did something else other than the sound recording. So for example, are you responsible for the lyrics and the music, right? And so if that's the case, then you would put that in there. Okay. And so once that's done, you would just click save. Again, if there's somebody else that is part of the project, on any level, then you would enter them in there so that it becomes legal. And then we'll click continue. So now we need to list who the claimant is, or in other words, the person that is actually filing the claim and registering for this work, registering for the copyright. So if you're registering somebody else, you would click new, but if it's you, you would click add me. Your information will populate here. If you need to change any of the information, then you'll do so on this page. Click save. And if all is well, then we will continue. Limitation of the claim. I've always left this empty. I've never had a reason to utilize this. If you think that you do need to add some type of limitation to your claim, then I would tell you to make sure that you pay attention here, and then you enter in any information that needs to be limited. Under rights and permissions, this is really information for the Copyright Office or anyone else. If somebody wanted to get permission to use any of your work, or they have questions about things, these are the people that they need to talk to. So whether it's you, maybe it's your record label, maybe you are the label, this is who they need to talk to in this space. Under correspondent, this is the person that the Copyright Office is actually going to contact if they have questions specifically about the application. It's mandatory, so don't skip over that. Next is going to be where the Copyright Office needs to mail your certificate. So it doesn't matter, even if you are applying online, you will get a certificate and they need to know where it needs to go. Under special handling, I've never had to use this. It's an expedited service, and typically I believe it's for someone who is utilizing an attorney. So maybe you have issues with a copyright or what have you. And so this is what the special handling is. I've never had to use it, so I've always just clicked continue. Under certification, you will certify that you are the author and all the information that you have entered is correct. They will allow you to review. You'll be able to review all of your information. And then you will pay and actually submit your work.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, so you've done the work, you've walked through the process of it. It wasn't very difficult. It just does require a little bit of investment of time, and it does require a little bit of money. Let me tell you something. Do not allow that money, the $55 to $125, don't let that stop you from protecting your work. Think about your music. Your music is not just ministry. Your music is not just a creative piece. I mean, if that's the way you want to look at it, then absolutely, then do whatever you want. Release it, give it to a bird, let the bird fly off with it, right? That's up to you. But if you want to be taken seriously and you want to look at yourself as a true artist, you have to shift your mindset from not only being creative, but being a businesswoman or a businessman as well. If you've chosen to register online, then that takes, I think, about 8 months. If you do it where you're going to mail it in, then that's going to take about 13 months. So, it's up to you. I love you. You were created to make God famous. And make sure that you tune into iworship96.com for the best in indie gospel and Christian music, baby. We are on 24/7 for your listening pleasure. Have a blessed day.